Good times create weak people. Say that out loud. Let it hit you. Because when you first hear that, it might feel a little unsettling, right? But here's the truth: life's greatest lessons don't come wrapped in comfort. They come through challenges, adversity, and those moments when you feel like you're on the edge, when the pressure feels too much to handle. But let's not misunderstand this. Weak people don't just happen because life is good. Weakness happens when we lose sight of the fundamentals that make us strong. It happens when we let comfort, convenience, and complacency take over. And I'm not here to tell you that you shouldn't enjoy the good times. Of course you should. Celebrate them. But I am here to remind you of one critical fact: strength, real, unshakable strength, comes not in the moments of ease, but in the moments where you decide to grow, to stretch, to challenge yourself even when you don't have to. Think about history for a second. Every great civilization, every empire had its peak. And at that peak, when the abundance flowed, when the people were living in prosperity, something began to happen. The edge dulled. The hunger faded. People started living in the comfort zone. They forgot what it was like to fight, to strive, to innovate. And what happened next? The decline began. Now you might be thinking, Tony, that's about civilizations. What does that have to do with me, everything? Because what's true on a macro level is true for you and me as individuals. It's human nature. When life is easy, when we're not facing challenges, we tend to relax. And relaxing is okay in the short term, but if it becomes a habit, it erodes our strength, our drive, and our capacity to rise to life's inevitable challenges. I want you to think about a time in your life when you were at your best. Close your eyes and feel it for a second. Maybe it was when you were overcoming a massive obstacle. Maybe it was when you had to dig deep, find resources within yourself that you didn't even know existed. That version of you, strong, resourceful, determined, didn't come from sitting back and letting life happen to you. It came because you decided to face the fire, to lean into the struggle, to grow through the pain. Now let me ask you this: are you still that person today? Are you still living with that hunger, that drive, that edge? Or have you let the good times, the comfort, soften you a little? Be honest with yourself right now, because self-awareness is the first step to transformation. Here's the thing: good times aren't the enemy. They're the reward. But the moment you start believing that the good times will last forever, that you've somehow arrived, that's the moment you start losing your edge. Life is dynamic. It's constantly shifting. And if you're not growing, you're dying. There's no standing still. Now let's flip this around for a second. What if I told you that you could use the good times to create an even stronger, more resilient, more unstoppable version of yourself? What if instead of letting comfort make you weak, you used it as a platform to prepare for what's next? That's the mindset of a winner. That's the mindset of a leader. Winners don't stop training because they've won the championship. They train harder. Leaders don't stop learning because they've achieved success. They double down because they know that the next challenge is coming and they want to be ready. I'll tell you a personal story. Early in my career, I experienced success faster than I ever imagined. It was exhilarating. But there was a moment when I started to believe the hype, to think, I've got this all figured out. And you know what happened? I got hit with a challenge I wasn't ready for. It knocked me down. It humbled me. And in that moment, I realized something profound: success is not a destination. It's a process. It's a journey. And the moment you stop growing, you start losing. Weakness isn't about lack of ability. It's about lack of practice, lack of preparation, lack of the willingness to do the hard things even when you don't have to. Because let me tell you, there will come a time when life tests you, when the storm hits. And in that moment, you'll either rise or fall based on the habits, the mindset, and the strength you've built during the good times. So how do we ensure that good times don't create weak people? By staying hungry, by staying committed to growth, by remembering that our purpose is bigger than our comfort. Think about the people you admire most in life, the leaders, the innovators, the change makers. They didn't get there by coasting. They got there because they refused to settle. They used every moment, every opportunity to get better, and they didn't stop when they achieved success. They kept pushing, kept striving, kept growing. Let me ask you this, what are you doing today to keep your edge? Are you pushing yourself even when you don't have to? Are you setting goals that scare you, goals that force you to grow? Or are you just coasting, letting the good times lull you into complacency? Because here's the truth, life doesn't care about your comfort zone. It's going to throw challenges your way, whether you're ready or not. And if you're not strong, if you're not prepared, those challenges will break you. But if you've built your strength, if you've stayed hungry, you'll rise. You'll overcome. You'll thrive. And here's the beauty of it. The more you challenge yourself, the more you grow. And the more you grow, the more you realize that there's no limit to what you can achieve. Life isn't about avoiding discomfort. It's about embracing it. Because discomfort is the gateway to growth. So I challenge you today, don't let the good times make you weak. Use them to make yourself stronger. Train your body, sharpen your mind, deepen your relationships, expand your skills, push yourself to be better, not because you have to, but because you can. And when the challenges come, and you'll be ready. You won't just survive, you'll thrive. Because you'll know that strength isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Good times create weak people only if we let them. But for those who choose to stay hungry, to stay committed, to keep growing, good times are just the beginning. The real reward isn't the comfort. It's the strength you build along the way. So what's it going to be? Are you going to let the good times make you weak? Or are you going to rise, to grow, to become the strongest, most unstoppable version of yourself? Let me remind you of something powerful. Weakness isn't something that just happens to people. It's a state we allow ourselves to fall into when we stop making the conscious choice to grow. And I need you to hear this because it's one of the most important lessons you'll ever learn in your life. Your strength, your resilience, your ability to thrive in this world is built or destroyed in the small, everyday decisions you make. When you choose comfort over growth, when you settle for good enough, when you decide that you've done all you need to do, that's when weakness creeps in. It doesn't happen all at once. It's slow, it's subtle, but over time it compounds. You stop challenging yourself, and before you know it, you're not the same person you used to be. Now let's flip that. Imagine the opposite. Imagine waking up every day and asking yourself, how can I be better today than I was yesterday? Imagine taking every moment, every opportunity to push yourself just a little bit further. Imagine refusing to settle, even when things are going well. You know what that does? It builds momentum. It builds strength. It creates a version of you that is unstoppable. Because here's the truth, strength isn't built in moments of comfort. It's built in the moments when you decide to do the hard things, to face the challenges, to push through the discomfort. Think about the most successful people in the world, athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, change makers. Do you think they stopped pushing themselves when they achieved success? No way. They worked harder. They knew that staying at the top required even more effort than getting there. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, didn't stop practicing because he won championships. In fact, he practiced harder. He knew that the moment he stopped growing, someone else would surpass him. And it wasn't just about staying on top, it was about the love of the game, the love of pushing himself, the love of becoming the best version of himself. Now let's bring this back to you. What's your version of that? What's the game you're playing in life? Is it your career, your relationships, your health, your personal growth? Whatever it is, I want you to think about this. Are you giving it your all? Are you showing up every day with the hunger to grow, to improve, to become better? Or are you coasting? Coasting feels easy in the moment. It feels comfortable, but it comes with a cost. And that cost is your potential. Every time you settle, every time you choose comfort over growth, you're giving up a little bit of what you could be. But here's the good news, you can change that right now. It doesn't matter where you are in life. It doesn't matter how many times you've chosen comfort in the past. What matters is what you choose to do next. Because strength, resilience, greatness, they're not fixed traits. They're skills, they're habits, they're things you can build moment by moment, decision by decision. I want you to imagine your future self the best version of you. The you that has achieved your biggest dreams, overcome your greatest challenges, and become the person you were always meant to be. That version of you didn't just happen. That version of you was built. And the way you build it is by making the choice every single day to grow, to push yourself, to do the hard things even when you don't have to. Now let's talk about why this is so important. Life isn't predictable. You know that. Challenges are going to come your way, challenges you can't even imagine right now. When they do, you'll either rise to meet them or you'll crumble under the weight of them. Which one it is depends entirely on what you're doing today. Are you building the strength, the resilience, the capacity to handle whatever life throws at you? Or are you letting the good times make you weak? This is why I say that success is a paradox, because success can be the thing that destroys you if you let it. But it can also be the thing that propels you to even greater heights if you use it wisely. The choice is yours. And it's a choice you make every single day. Now, let me tell you another story. I once met a man who had built an incredibly successful business. He was at the top of his game. But you know what he told me? He said, Tony, I'm afraid. I'm afraid because I've gotten comfortable. I've stopped taking risks. I've stopped pushing myself. And I know that if I don't change, it's only a matter of time before it all comes crashing down. That man had the self-awareness to see what was happening. He recognized that the good times were making him weak. And because he recognized it, he was able to do something about it. He made a decision to start pushing himself again, to get out of his comfort zone, to reignite that hunger that had driven him to success in the first place. And that's the key. Self-awareness is where it starts. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to look at your life and ask, where am I settling? Where am I letting comfort hold me back? Where am I choosing the easy path instead of the path that will help me grow? Once you have that awareness, you can start making different choices. You can start pushing yourself, challenging yourself, growing in ways you never thought possible. And let me tell you something else. It's not just about you. The choices you make, the example you set, the person you become, that affects everyone around you, your family, your friends, your community. Weakness doesn't just stay with one person, it spreads, and so does strength. When you choose to grow, when you choose to be strong, when you choose to show up as the best version of yourself, you inspire others to do the same. So this isn't just about you. It's about the ripple effect you create in the world. Imagine a world where everyone stayed hungry, stayed committed, stayed strong. Imagine a world where people use the good times not as an excuse to relax, but as an opportunity to grow. That's the kind of world we can create if each of us makes the choice every single day to be better, to do more, to push ourselves beyond what we think is possible. And here's the final thing I want you to take away from this strength. It isn't about never falling. It's not about being perfect. It's about getting back up. It's about learning from every failure, every mistake, every setback. It's about using those experiences to grow, to become stronger, to become better. So don't be afraid of the hard times. Don't be afraid of the challenges. Don't be afraid of the discomfort. Embrace it. Because that's where the magic happens. That's where you grow. That's where you become the person you were always meant to be. Good times create weak people only if we let them. But for those who choose to stay hungry, to stay committed, to keep growing, good times are just the beginning. Now, I want you to make a decision right here, right now. Are you going to let the good times make you weak, or are you going to use them to make yourself stronger than ever before? Because I know what you're capable of. I see the greatness in you. I see the potential. And I know that you have what it takes to rise, to grow, to thrive. But it's up to you. No one can make this choice for you. You have to decide. So what's it going to be? Let's go. Let's make today the day you choose strength, growth, and greatness. Let's make today the day you start building the best version of yourself. Because the world needs you. The world needs your strength, your resilience, your leadership. Let's go. So here we are. We've traveled through the fire, examined the truth, and laid it bare. The question remains, what will you do with this? Because it's not just words, it's a call to action. Good times can either be the foundation of your greatest strength or the trapdoor to your downfall. The choice, my friend, is entirely yours. Will you let comfort dull your edge, weaken your spirit, and rob you of the greatness that lies within? Or will you seize this moment, take the good times, and use them as fuel to build something extraordinary, not just for yourself, but for everyone you touch? Remember this, the measure of your life isn't determined by how easy it's been, but by how much you've grown, how much you've given, and how strong you've become in the face of life's challenges. Strength is a decision. Growth is a decision. Staying hungry is a decision. And it starts now, not tomorrow, not next week, now. This moment is the turning point. The moment where you decide to stop coasting, to stop settling, and to rise. Because deep down, you already know the truth. You are not here to be average. You are here to be extraordinary. You are here to live fully, to love deeply, to give endlessly, and to grow relentlessly. So go out there, face the challenges, lean into the discomfort, push yourself beyond what you think is possible. And when the good times come and they will celebrate them, yes, but never forget what makes you strong. This is your time. This is your life. Make it count. Let's rise together. Let's grow. Let's thrive. And remember, the best is yet to come. Let's go.